Today we are going to talk about how to find and use the least common denominator, otherwise known as the LCD. Now, we use LCM, so we make our list of multiples to find the lowest common denominator. So let's try that and see what that looks like. So if I have the fractions 5/8 and 1/6, and I want to find the least common denominator, the lowest denominator that these both have in common, I would start by making my list. Okay, so I have 6 and 8. I make my list of multiples. So 6, 12, 18, 24, and 30. My list of multiples for 8 would be 8, 16, 24, 32, and 40. Now, we can see that these both have the multiple 24 in common, and that is the lowest number they both have in common. Now, what I can do with this is the LCD. This is your LCD, your lowest common denominator. Now, what I can do with that is take that and put it as my denominator so that these have the same denominator, and then I can use those fractions to add or subtract or compare. So let's finish up figuring out the fractions now. So 8, to get from 8 to 24, we multiply by 3. So we'll multiply by 3 up top. 5 times 3 is 15. And over here, to get from 6 to 24, I multiply by 4. I multiply by 4 on top then, and I'm left with 4. So my new fractions, 15 over 24 and 4 over 24. I can now use those fractions in a variety of ways, but the point is that they have a common denominator, and we got that common denominator by finding the LCD or LCM. Let's try another one here. If I have the fractions 3/4 and 2/5, and I want to get them to have a common denominator, I need to find the LCD, the lowest common denominator here. So what is the lowest common denominator for 4 and 5? Well, for 8, 12, 16, 20, 5, 10, 15, 20, they both have a common denominator of 20. So my LCD is 20. Again, then I can go ahead and get both of these fractions to have a denominator of 20. I multiply by 5 here. So 3 times 5 is 15. Over here, I multiply by 4. So 2 times 4 is 8. Therefore, my common denominator fractions are 15/20 and 8/20. Okay, so when I have two fractions and I need them to have the same denominator, I'll make that list of multiples and find the LCD. Now, how do we use that? Well, the biggest way that we use that is adding, subtracting, or to compare. Let's try comparing. If I have 2/5 and 3/8, and I want to know which fraction is greater, which fraction is larger. Here, I can't compare these at the moment because they have different denominators. So think about a pizza. They're cut into different numbers of pieces. So it's hard for me to tell which one is larger. So I'm going to go ahead and find my LCD. I've got 5, my multiples of 5, 15, 20, 25. 8 is 8, 16, 24, 32, 40. I don't have a match yet, so I'm going to keep going with 5 since it's lower. 30, 35, 40. I got a match. Okay, so 40 is my LCD. Now I use that to get common denominator fractions. In this instance, I multiply 40 times 8. 8 times 5 to get 40. So I multiply 2 times 8 to get me 16. And then here I multiply by 5. So I multiply this by 5. 3 times 5 is 15. So my new fractions, they have the same value, but they are just cut into more pieces. We have 15 40ths and 16 40ths. So which one is greater? Which one is more? Well, 16 pieces out of 40 is more than 15 pieces out of 40. Therefore, 16 40ths is greater than 15 40ths. We're going back to our original problem here. 2/5 is greater than 3/8.